Life's best moments are best captured by photography and video. You may ask, why photography and video? Because if a photo is worth 1,000 words, video is worth 1,000,000. And GPS photography and video will leave you speechless. GPS specializes in weddings, swords, fitness, and so much more. Book your next shoot today at 910-257-0526 or gpsphotoandvideo.com.
Welcome to the Amazon's podcast. I'm Glenn Young, owner of Amazon's Fitness Magazine. Celebrate the female physique. Subscribe to AmazonsFitMag.com. The podcast is brought to you by Maximum Posing Suits. Celebrate your inner warrior. Custom competition suits for victory on every stage. And of course, GPS photography and video, gpsphotoandvideo.com. Why photography and video? Because if a photo's worth 1,000, 1,000 words, video's worth 1,000,000. My guest, she is the 2023 Masters Miss Olympia. She is a 5-time Olympian. She is on the September cover of Amazon's Fitness Magazine, 2022, September 2022 cover of Amazon's Fitness Magazine. That's it, drinking in.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
There you go. Miss Reshanna Boswell, how you doing?
I am excellent. I'm very, very good. Yeah.
I know you're busy. I'm not gonna hold you too long so you can get to bed. But
if you know me, you know that.
Yeah, I know you're in bedtime and everything very well. And I know thanks for coming on after beating up the Chicago traffic and getting away from clients and everything. So I really appreciate you.
No, thank
Talk
you.
to me a little bit about Maximus Posing Suits and your sponsorship with them. Michelle Bogdan, she's the owner. And of course, she just competed in the Triple O Dynasty and then the Van Isle. So I really appreciate her. But how did that all come about?
I love Michelle. She's awesome. We hang out quite a bit throughout the year. She's come to me with Rising Phoenix before to kind of help me out and fit my suit and stay with me and stuff. So, and I've traveled with her. I was there when she turned pro in Pittsburgh. So I was there with her for that, which was awesome. And we've been working together now a couple of years. She kind of took over another suit designer that I was with, who was really last minute, and I needed a suit, and we were cutting it close, and I think she overnighted me a suit literally before the show. Wow. It came in hours before I needed it. So and she's like, if you don't mind, I'd love to make suits for you going forward. And she did, and she's awesome. Sent my kids Christmas gift. She's just all around became a friend as well. We will be next week. She has me going to Seattle. She's like, well, you got any plans? And she texted me a couple weeks ago, right after her show. A week after the show, and then she's like, can you come to Seattle for the Emerald Cup? So I'll be there. We'll be there this weekend. Yeah, I'm fine. So that was the thing too. We're cutting it close. I'm like, let me get packed. So I'll pack up tonight, fly out tomorrow night. So I'll leave tomorrow night. And she's got everything rented and taken care of. She got a booth for us and all that. So yeah, it should be fun. It should be fun. She's awesome. Suits are awesome. I'm like, I need a new suit. So
that's good, because you can promote your sponsors. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Promoting the sponsors, and great with the suits. And she's got a few pros and Olympians as well. So that's great.
We're coming in deep. We're rolling in deep. We're rolling in deep.
Oh yeah. Every time I look up, somebody else is popping on there.
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
All right. So it's not hard to figure out what shows women's bodybuilding is doing, because y'all don't have that many shows. But have you made any plans for 2024?
I have not made any official plans. My poor coach, I apologize to him every week. We are absolutely in prep right now. That's for sure. And I keep changing it, on him. I'm like, hey, let's do this show. Let's do that show. And then I finally was like, just get me ready. I just want to be ready now. So that's kind of the plan, is to get ready early and stay there. So we are pretty much ahead of schedule. We're tossing around a few shows. Rising Phoenix is in August, so that's definitely on the map for me. I'll be there. So that's kind of, so that'll be on the map, and then something hopefully before that or right after. And then but they've added a few more shows actually since the schedule first came out, which is just, it is nice to see. Elena has her show back in Cluj, which I mean, Cluj was great to me the first time around. So, and that's September 1st. They have that California show that they just added.
Yeah, Anaheim.
Right. So now those are two shows that were not originally on the schedule. So that I feel like that's huge too. So yeah, so we'll see.
No chance of a home game because it is the Chicago Pro.
I will be there, whether it's competing or whether it's with one of my sponsors or just kind of helping out, Tim at the show or whatever. It is local for me, so I mean, I'm going to be there to support regardless. I don't know. I told my coach that, I mean, that would be July. That's the earliest we could be ready. We are ahead of schedule and in a very good place in prep right now. So this prep, if it continues at this pace, this should be one for the books. So yeah, I feel really good. But we've talked about that. He's kind of pushing for the Chicago show. I told him we'll see. But I mean, we have a few more options. I just, once my body's ready, he gives me the green light, then we'll see what's available. But
it really is a gauntlet. You talk New York Pro,
honestly, for me,
Chicago.
it's anything and everything is open. Whatever show I decide to do is what I decide to do. I'm not shying away from any show. Once I'm ready and he says we're good, we go. So I'm gonna bring my best. You will beat my best. That's what it has to be. So
what's been your thoughts on the season so far?
I think it's been a good turnout so far, honestly. I mean, if we're looking at the first two shows, 5 or 6 people in the show in women's bodybuilding, for us, I think that's a good number for the first two shows coming out of the gate. If we're comparing it to last year or the last couple years, so and even honestly, I'm not sure that there's that many of them. I'm looking at the male competitors. I'm not sure they're turning out in droves. I'm like, how many of us do you really want to see it on stage at a time? I mean, how many was on stage at the Detroit Pro? It was like 6, right? So like, what they got 6, we got 6. So like, how many more of us do you want on stage? And how to rush a prep? Let us prep, and give us a chance to prep. You want us lean, you want a certain look. Let us prep for that. I mean, I'm getting ready and I'm in prep now, but I did just compete at the Olympia. I need a little bit of downtime. I need to add some more size because you want me to get more size too. So you need to let me get more size and then let me prep again and get lean again and get conditioned again to hit stage again. So that's still, I need time for that, so, and some of us that did compete, have to, it gets strategic. And, if you've been competing the last 3 years nonstop, then you're going to need a little bit more of a break versus someone who may have just turned pro and yes, they can run the next couple years. So I'm like, I need a little bit more time. So like, I had that. So now we're getting back into prep now, but I was looking at the number in the two shows and I like the numbers that I saw. I thought those were solid numbers. If we get 6 at every show or 6 between 6 and 10 or 6 and 12, I mean, I think that's a reasonable number to expect from us. And as getting from the amateurs that we've gotten that have recently turned pro for the last couple of years, and and Michelle's done 2 shows already as a brand new pro. I mean, she just got her pro card. She jumped right into the first 2 shows.
Yeah, she did.
So it's like, yeah, we do need more of that. And you got to be ballsy just to get out there. Like, you got to get your pro. You just got to do it. So she jumped in and now she knows what to work on for later on in the year. Going forward. But I feel like it was a solid turnout. And again, if we're comparing it to how many men have turned out in the other shows with all the prize money, you give us that prize money, I promise you, I'll find a way to get ready sooner.
Oh yeah. Put up
I'll get ready sooner. If you offer me 25 for that first place, I promise you I'll get ready sooner. So
exactly.
It's like,
it's all about the prize money. It's also about the promoters and paying that sanctioning fee. And we talked a little bit about that at the Charlotte Pro. And ideally, it seems now, based on the turnout that's happened, when you look at the New York Pro, which is up next for women's bodybuilding, not at the Pittsburgh Pro, that thing already is looking great and looking really stacked. And so hopefully it's going to heat up through the summer and we just go on from there. Because ideally, you need 25 weeks to prep as a women's bodybuilder, would you say? Or I mean, and everybody's different. I get it based on coaches and knowing about the physique of their pro. Is 25 weeks about right?
I can be ready in 16. I think me and my coach agree
Mhm.
somewhere between 12 and 16 weeks, depending on the show. I mean, I'm going to give
Right.
myself a full 16 for Rising Phoenix. If it's my regular season show that I need to win, I can get ready for that in 12.
Right.
For me, 12 to 16 is feasible, but it's also being very meticulous with my off-season plan and gaining muscle and still eating clean and increasing the food and doubling the food, but but keeping it still clean. My off-season is almost just as clean as my prep, just more food. I'm just getting more
Right.
chicken. I really, what I'm saying? I'm not doing anything. It's just more chicken. We just double down on it. Like
Yeah.
that. That's it. So I think learning that part of my off season and being able to eat that extra food without doing the extra cardio and being able to get
Mhm.
that balancing act, and that's how you gain and gain cleanly, so that when it's time to prep again, we're not killing ourselves and losing all that. So I mean, I've learned that just because I'm such a hard gainer anyway, and it takes me so long to put muscle on. I don't have time to waste it away doing 2 and 3 hours cardio. I don't have that. That'll be the first thing to go, and then we're back where we started. So, you know, but yeah,
You've
14.
always you've always used chicken.
I eat a lot of chicken. Actually, I do a lot of chicken, a lot of eggs. I mean, honestly.
Okay.
So yeah, and I'm getting a ton of food now, and we're just getting leaner. Like this start of this prep has probably been one of my best ever. Me and my coach had a really long talk before we started this. I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna make a decision on the show. When I hit stage, you'll know it,
Oh yeah.
and I'll be ready. Like I feel like everything is, and my coaches are just keeping me on task. My opposing coach, I'm
Mhm.
scheduled out for the next 4 months. I had the same time on the same day, and it's to keep me consistent, and it's the time that it's most convenient when I have the most energy. But she scheduled me like that purposely to keep me
Mhm.
on task. I have check-ins Friday, Saturday, Sunday with my prep coach. It keeps me on task. It doesn't change. The time doesn't change. I post at the same place. It's all. So that's how this prep is going for me. Everything is just very just do, just do, just do. And if I do everything accordingly, the look that's going to be presented is should be mind blowing, is what I think. I think it'll be awesome. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
enjoying the prep and yeah, just kind of taking my time with it. So yeah, I don't plan on doing a lot of shows. I want to do my one to get me qualified
There you
and
go.
then sit my ass
And
down.
shut
So
it down and
let
get
someone
ready.
else do it. So I'm on my one, and
That's
then
good.
yeah, I can have the rest.
Right. And of
So
course, you have a great posing coach,
oh
as
yeah,
we both know, with Veronica Hinton.
I
Wish
do.
her all
Yeah.
the best. She's doing the New York Pro, so the
hmm
women,
Yeah, I'm
it's
trying to
good
get
to
out
see
there. I
her
think my
back.
sponsor's going to bring me out there too. So
Yeah, and speaking of your other sponsor, Murder Weight, talk to me about Murder Weight. You
yeah,
know,
so he's awesome, and just the clothing, the company, we've been working together now for I don't know 7 or 8 months. We
hmm
were at the Charlotte Cup there a couple weeks
right?
ago. He's doing the New York Pro. He'll have a booth there as well. So yeah,
I'm gonna
it
fly
should
you
be
out to
pretty.
New York.
That is the plan.
I gotta get a hold of. He needs to fly me and Melissa out, man.
Like I mean, and I will say, like, he's like, I don't want you to wear anything else. You shouldn't have to wear anything
Right.
else. I have a full wardrobe of of clothes.
That's great.
So yeah, like super comfortable, affordable. Yeah. So shout out.
That's the way it should be. And you can follow him at Murder Weight on Instagram, and more stuff is coming
Oh
from his
yeah,
clothing line, and he's got a lot of
absolutely.
irons in the fire. And of course,
hmm
Melissa Burrell is doing the New York Pro, so yeah, I just got to get him to throw in tickets for Amazon's Fitness magazine to fly out there.
we're working on it. And then Sharonic is
That's-
going to be there too. So I'm like,
yeah,
hey, everybody, that show's going to be awesome. That show's going to
yeah,
be, it's going to be
and then,
huge. I mean, the turnout for women's bodybuilding, that show's going to be, yeah.
yeah,
So I think,
Lavanya Barrows, and then of
mm-hmm.
course sponsored athlete
Ivy's
Ashley
in there.
Jones. So excited to see what she's gonna do.
Yeah, no, this will be, yeah. I think this will be a good year for women's body. Like, this is probably one of our best years yet. I mean, it's going to
Right.
be competitive. And like, for me, it's like, okay, right. So it's like, but it's nice though. Like, I think it's good for the sport, and it's, yeah, I just think we need some new blood and all that. I mean, I ain't going nowhere, but I
Yeah.
mean, it's nice to have some other folks come in too. um, but I think like with this turnout, really, it's been a solid turnout for the first. It's not one or two. If they wanted to see more, I think we presented more, and they looked good on stage. The presentations were good, the physiques were good. And I think it'll just get better as the year goes on, as we have longer to prep, and we just need more. I think we need more time to prep, and that just comes what it comes down to. And it takes longer coming off of a show. Especially at
Mhm.
a prep like the Olympia, an Olympia prep takes a lot out of you. It just does. So, and then being able to bounce back from that, and so yeah. But I mean, I think it's been a great turnout so far.
And of course, the Olympia moved up to October, and it may
Hmm.
just be an issue of looking at the show calendar in
Yeah.
2025. Said, hey, based on the feedback that the women's bodybuilders are saying, say, hey, maybe honestly, the date of the New York Pro is really when everybody will be optimally ready.
Right.
You do a
Right.
show in,
Right. Well, that's why you
in
see
March
that's
time
why the
frame.
Chicago Pro is so competitive, and the Tampa
Yeah.
Pro is always so
Oh
competitive
yeah.
because it's later in the year. We've had time, So
Exactly.
yeah. I mean,
And
yeah,
that Tampa Pro is going to be huge. I mean, you look at the whole gauntlet: New
yeah,
York, Chicago,
yeah,
Atlanta, and then you hit Tampa. Ooh wee! I mean,
hmm,
'cause that's going to be the
yeah,
last, well, in the States anyway, last
hmm.
chance to qualify for the Olympia. So when you look
I
at
mean,
that,
I mean, I feel good. Like, I mean, even when the year started out, it was like, okay, well, what are they doing with the shows? And then, like, when
mm-hmm,
Elena stepped up with, the show in Romania, I was like, okay, and it's
right,
only women's bodybuilding, so it's like, for me, I want to turn out just for her. Like, it's like
right,
that's huge. It's only women's bodybuilding, and like that's huge for her to do that. And it's just us, So like, yeah, I think that was huge. And then now having California, so I mean, yeah, they're still trying to add a couple more shows. So I think
right.
yeah. So I mean,
I
we
just
we
need
just got
them
to
to
show up.
move them in to the East Coast, man. I mean, give me women's bodybuilding at the Charlotte Pro. Come on, help me out with
Mhm.
something. And I love the Triple O Dynasty, but I sure hope they don't leave it in Arizona. I hope they move a little in. But and of course, Linda Murray show, Ultimate, you
Hmm.
know.
Yeah,
Um,
then the show's 12 weeks out. So yeah, 12 weeks out from that show. So I know there's a
mhm,
few people getting ready for that prep too. I've kind of heard some stuff going around. So
yeah.
yeah, I think as
You
this
know
year
who I
progresses,
wish
it's just done.
had a show? I wish Iris Kyle had a show.
Hmm.
You talk about
Hmm.
most deserving. I would
Yeah.
just like to see it. And she's in Vegas, so maybe it's the Irish Kyle Pro Am. I don't know, but that's just my as a fan and
Yeah.
supporter. I was like, yeah, that's something I'd like to see as well, and to see
Yeah.
more women promoters out there,
Hmm.
like Sid Gillian, like Andrea Shaw, like Whitney
Yeah.
Jones. That's the way to do it. Don't worry
Yeah.
about who's going to
Yeah.
give you a show. Go do
Right.
your own show.
Exactly.
No, that's
Exactly.
great.
And that's why I feel like it was a good turnout. People were like, oh, they didn't turn. I feel like for Andrea, they turned out. I mean, and then
Yeah,
I mean, it was early in the year, and I think that does factor into it. But
yeah.
I mean, it took a lot for them to plan it. I mean, this was 2 years in the make. We heard about this two
Hmm.
years ago, and so I mean, and even her, I'm sure I can only imagine how many hoops they had to jump through to get that show even into fruition. So
Right.
I mean, kudos for them, and at some point, I'd love to they bring them around again next year. Maybe I'll be ready for it that year and I can actually do it. But I mean, I think it was a good turnout. And I mean,
Yeah.
I think we had a good turnout so far this year. And I think it's going to just continue on. So I think this is going to be good as far as how many people are on stage and showing up
Right.
versus, a one person at the show. I don't think we're going to see any of that this year.
And something that's not lost on this, these are active competitors, meaning
Hmm. Right.
they got to get
Right.
ready for the Olympia.
Right.
So,
Right.
and they're trying to put a show on, and where their mind is, all the traveling and
Right.
going up at different events for their sponsors, and then
Hmm.
to put on a show.
Hmm.
So, you got to wonder, say, did this leave a crack in the door? If you hadn't been to worry about doing your own show, and I'm not saying it, but I think
Hmm.
it's great, and the fact that they can manage that and still
Yeah.
get ready for the Olympia in October is great. Hope it
I mean, it's,
continues.
it's a huge responsibility. Like with Andrea,
Oh
like
yeah,
I admire her like so much. And it was funny, like right after I won Romania, it was like I was getting all these messages and all these different things, and I was like, this is still only a third or an eighth of what she has to deal with, and I'm tired and overwhelmed, and it's just a lot. Like I just can't imagine having to be just that on point and that nice and that at all times. And she's just always traveling, and every time you see her. Like even at the last Olympia, like me and her, I kind of was passing her by, and she
hmm,
stopped me and asked about my kids. Like I love
right,
it. Like she's just, so it's genuine. Like we're all competitive, but at the same time, like her role and what she has to do and being, at the forefront for us is just huge. Is for women's bodybuilding. So I think this is like kind of the year that we really kind of,
right.
especially with us like the growth
This
and
could
on
be the
stage and
turning
stuff.
point. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
could be the turning
I think
point.
so.
Great ambassador, and just got to
Mhm.
keep building. Don't wait
Yeah,
on somebody to give you something. Go
yeah,
get it. Go take it.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it, and it rings different or it hits different when you have a women's promoter.
Hmm.
Um, and you don't have women's bodybuilding at the show because like, oh, okay, you're a woman promoter, but you don't
Yeah.
have women's bodybuilding. So that's a
Mhm.
difference to it too. Yeah, you can say it hurts because not the Arnold or male promoters didn't have it their show, but when you are a female promoter and you don't
Mhm.
have women's bodybuilding, turns a little bit. Now the flip side
Yeah.
of that is how do we support them? How do you get involved? And that's the next phase for me and Amazon's after sponsoring athletes is going into 2025 is to sponsor female promoters that have their own show.
Mhm.
However I can
Mhm.
do it or however I can
Uh-huh.
raise the funds, but that's the way ahead for Amazon's anyway. You know, sponsorship and sponsor female promoters.
Mhm.
We have women's bodybuilding and the ones that's doing it, the ones that's supporting women's bodybuilding, that's who you got to get involved in. That's
Yeah.
you know, the optics mean so much. So for me to go
Mhm.
to a show and do a booth, but there's no women's bodybuilding, like, got to be careful because you know,
Right.
there's
Yeah.
oh really,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
True.
I caught all this hell for putting a bikini on the cover. So I mean, even
Well, we need
yeah,
to keep you women's bodybuilding, women's physique. Like we
hey,
need like we
but
need
they got to
something.
show
Like we
up,
got.
man. I mean, they got to show up. They
Yeah.
got to
Yeah.
call me,
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and that goes into play too when doing a magazine because it's you know, every other month, bi-monthly. So when you come out in January and then March, you know, maybe I need to flip it because if you know it goes
Yeah.
February
Yeah.
and then April, you guys are
Mhm.
peaking in condition
Mhm.
and get ready to do a show. So you know, just have to see and go on from there. But all 6 divisions, women's divisions, to me are Amazons. And
Mhm.
ultimately, as we talked about before, to have a women's bodybuilder on the cover or women's physique, you know, and then obviously a centerfold 3 to 4 page layout of all the other divisions and go from there. But we just have to see and keep building, keep getting feedback, which I appreciate
Mhm.
all the
Yeah.
feedback you giving me and so many others. Not to name
Mhm.
names and you know, but yeah, I had some people reach out and say, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, and
Uh-huh.
on and so forth. So I really appreciate that as well as all the new subscribers and sponsors to the website, and of course the YouTube channel is growing, so we're gonna keep things going.
No, that's
So
it. Just sticking with it. Like, so we appreciate, like, you stick with us. We're just still pushing through. And I think this is just going to be a good, I mean, a good year for like this last year with women's sports in general. So I just feel like
mhm,
overall, everything, like, as far as what we're doing in women's bodybuilding and that hope, everything just kind of is starting to come full circle. So it's like,
right.
finally,
I
finally.
definitely see it turning. I mean, and
Hmm.
like I said, the motto is or going forward is don't wait on somebody to give you something. Go get it.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Any when you look out there, who is that strikes you as okay? That person's going to be in the Olympia. That's an up and comer versus last year. You know, is does
Um,
Andrea have a threat? I
you
ain't
know,
say
I
she
mean,
got a threat every year. Bottom line, but I mean, if you don't
yeah,
go to Olympia to lose or just to
no,
say, hey, I'm glad to
and
be
it,
here.
yeah, and I feel like, I've competed against Andrew. I mean, when my pro debut in women's bodybuilding was next to her. So it's like,
Yeah,
eh, so it's like, is anyone, I mean, I think her physique is that of a Linda Murr or an Iris Kai. So it's iconic. It's one of those that you're like, hey, I got to compete against this person and I
right,
stood next to this person. And I know I can stand next to this person and hold my own, and
right.
there's a mutual respect as far as that. Do I also believe that at some point anyone is beatable? Yes,
Mhm,
absolutely. Do I believe I've given my best? No. Do I believe I've probably given about 80% and
mhm,
managed to get to 5 Olympias? Yeah. Like me and my coach have had a heart to heart, and I told him, I said, "What if I told you I've only trained and dieted at about 80% max?"
mhm,
Then I have no idea what the fuck you're really capable of, and that's shocking.
right.
So so it's like, okay, so what if I give 100% across the board? What does that really look like, and how's that going to
Mhm.
reflect on my physique? Well, right now that's what I'm doing, so we'll see.
Well, that's scary.
So it's kind of like, hey, I don't know, this might be real interesting, but but just looking at her and her physique and her presentation, it's the same thing with Sid. I mean, you got 7
Mhm,
Olympians, and like that's just
yeah,
there's something about that in your physique and not even so much getting bigger in it, but just being able to maintain and stay there is just even harder than and maintaining that look that is
mhm,
now the blueprint. So it's like, okay, so I think it's just, yeah, I don't know, but like I said, everyone's beatable as far as who's up and coming. I think certain names are just, in there. Like, am I going to be on stage? Yes. Am I going to be the Rising
mhm,
Phoenix? I am. Is Mela probably going to be there? Is Michelle Aycock,
mhm,
Michaela Aycock probably going to be there? Yes. Like, these are names that are people that I know that I've competed against that I know are elite competitors.
mhm,
So yeah, they're always, they're going to be there for sure. Most of that, Angela, yeah, they'll be there because I mean they're top
Mhm.
competitors. So yeah, I mean that's still, I don't know, that's my group
Yeah.
of
And you
competition.
always had such great aesthetics. And maybe
Mhm.
you are spoiled. Not that anybody gave you jack. They didn't. It's just
No,
that you were so damn good and dominated, like,
yeah.
and it comes a thing of, you try to rise to the competition, but you got to self-motivate yourself as well.
Hmm.
And I know
Hmm.
that hunger and burning, and you got a
Yeah.
lot left in the tank
Oh yeah.
and bad taste in your mouth because you didn't like the way things went the last 5 Olympias or whatever. But I'm excited. You know,
But it's kind of
You
like the physique guy. Was it Ryan Terry that won? And then when
mhm,
and it was funny because I was there, and he's like, this is my ninth or 10th. It was like his ninth or 10th Olympia.
right.
He's been to every Olympia. This is just the
Mhm,
first one he won, but he's always been an Olympian. So it's like, so I'm sitting up there, I'm like, you mean to tell me you've done 10 Olympias? And he's like, well, the only thing I changed was my posing. So I'm like, I'm texting Sharonica. I was like, yo, okay.
mhm,
I text
mhm,
Monique Jones because those are the people that I work with. I'm like,
right.
these are the people that I'm working with. I'm like, so Ryan just said he's been to 9. So it's like to see that he's been to 9 Olympias, it's like, okay, like he can get there. He's an Olympian, like that's an elite level. But so it's like, okay, now at this turning point, at this last one, this is now you're Mr. Olympia. So like he was inspiring to me when I heard that. I'm like, okay, so this is my 5th one. I'm working on number 6. All right, let's just see. So it's like, but those kind of stories of just like keeping going is like, yeah, yeah. So
But to your credit, that just shows how good you've been for so long and how
yeah.
much of a separation it is from amateur to pro, and then
Hmm.
from pro to that Olympia stage. It's like, whoa.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
don't think people
yeah.
understand that. They say, "Oh, I made the
Hmm.
Olympia," right? But
Hmm.
and then when
Yeah,
they see that, you see an Olympian, you can definitely tell an Olympian from a pro
yes,
and a pro
yeah,
from an amateur. And
yes,
you would
yes.
never think there was that much separation. You see it up close at a show, or like
Hmm.
in my case in the photo shoot, you're like, whoa.
Uh-huh.
And it's not that
Yeah,
you're knocking anybody else, but it's like there is a difference between this
yeah.
level.
And
So
that's where I'm at now. And it was, and one of those things too for me, it's like when it's like they're doing comparison, it's like, okay, can Andrew be beat, and who is this? And and it's like,
mhm,
hey, Reshanna needs to be in better shape
mhm,
and more conditioned. And it's like I can take that one. I can be upset about that. And at a point, it's like, okay, well, like they want more from me. 'Cause I'm like, I'm in shape. Lord knows I was in shape, but you still want more.
mhm.
Okay, but then you think I can do more, so let me try and do more. But then at the same time, I'm like, at least I'm in the conversation because
Oh
they
yeah,
don't know you. At
yeah,
least I'm in the conversation, so I feel good.
there's
Like I'm in there, so
mhm,
like, me.
right.
So it's like, so if you expect more, fine, I'll give you what you're asking for. Okay. So yeah,
And I
yeah.
think it came from a place of love
Oh
and
yeah.
a place like, man, I'm sort of disappointed because I know she's got, and that's when you
Hmm.
make people that will really believe in you
Right,
can get really frustrated. Cause like, man,
right, right.
I know this person. It's just like a student that's capable of getting A's
Hmm.
and they get
Yeah.
a B plus,
And
or
I'm a student of the sport, but I'm like, I'm a good bad student. Or I can be an A,
mm,
but I'll ride
yeah,
by with a B plus because it'll still get me through. So it's like
yeah,
now, and that's what I tell my coach all the time with Eric. And he's like, my degree is in psychology, so we're good. Like I
hmm
got you.
hmm
But it's like he has a way with words that can get me to kind of tap in. He's like, and that's what it's having the right people around you and the patience that Sharonica has with me when it comes to
hmm
posing. And that's
yeah,
what with my schedule, I'm like, she gets up extra. I'm her first client on Sunday morning because
hmm
that's when I'm most likely to pose and not cancel and not, waste time. And she sponsors me. So like I don't want to waste her time or
there
mine. But
you
it's
go.
like that's the kind of thing too. So she keeps me on task, like, hey, you're scheduled at this time, this is your session, you do this, it's right after your gym time. I know you.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna just do what I'm told. And as long if I do what I'm told, God help y'all, because I'm that's
oh,
it.
that's it. And it was profit posing
Perfect
with
posing, yeah.
Sharon. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I mean, yeah, that's taking off well for her. Wish her the best.
Yeah,
And that's the
yeah.
same thing. Can you run a business
Hmm.
while you getting ready for your own prep?
And I'm
You know?
so excited to see her in New York. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, she's already leaner than anybody I know. So like, I'm like, dude, you still got like how many weeks? And
Hey,
she looks insane.
she's back.
Oh,
She's
she's back. She's
and
back.
people better recognize.
But
Um,
I'm here for it. I cannot wait. We're
yeah,
gonna be in New York.
yeah, it's gonna be huge. It's gonna be a great show.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
excited all the way
Hmm.
around. I mean, it's gonna be great.
Yeah.
So, give me your last words how do you do, or how do we recruit female bodybuilders? Everybody can say, well, they need to move up from women's physique, and that seems like it's not like they're a farm team like in baseball. They're not the minor
Mhm.
leagues by any stretch of imagination.
No.
But when you get told you need to move up and you don't, or that's the end of your career, what are some other things you can do to recruit women's bodybuilding?
I mean, I just think a lot of like the pros now, like, and probably myself included, like with the shows that are here, just being more involved in those. And I think
Mhm.
that's something that we need to take on. And maybe it's not a responsibility, but maybe it kind of is. For me to be more involved in some of the local shows that I know will have, potentially amateur, some NPC bodybuilders, and putting myself out
Mhm.
there at my gym who caters to bodybuilders, and like, hey, I ain't doing it for
Yeah.
free, but I can help take you under my wing, or do whatever and help motivate your training, whatever the case may be. But I think it's us being more, available. I remember when I was still an amateur, I reached out to a couple pros, and the ones that I messaged me back, I was like, oh my god, it's so, but it
Mhm.
was motivating, so. And I mean, yeah, a lot of people will still come up from women's physique. That'll be a given, because at some point, if you keep lifting, you grow out of that division. That's just how that goes. I mean, it
Right.
took me a few years to do it, but inevitably, yes. But I think just with
Yes,
some,
you were women's physique.
yeah,
You
and I
came
mean, I
from
was
women's.
figured. Hell, I was
Yeah.
figured. Really, I was figured to
Yeah. Oh
physique
yeah. Okay.
to bodybuilding. So, like, again, that was the same thing when I first started. I mean, there was no way I was pulling off. I was tiny, like I was
Mhm.
tiny. So it took those few years, and as I grew and grew and grew. So I mean, yes, as you're training, and a lot of girls I see at the gym now that are training heavy and stuff like that. I'm like, eventually, you're gonna grow out of figure.
Yep.
So I mean, we'll still get those people. I think asking the promoters really to not give up on the amateurs, and just still making it available, and at least having
Right.
the category available. Whether it's you get one or two, but even if we get one or two this year, then maybe another 2 to 3 next year. I mean, our first
Mhm.
two shows last year, there was only one competitor. Now you got 6 and 6. I mean, our first
There you
three
go.
shows were like, I mean, my show only had three, but it was like you already beat that. We've in two shows, you've already beat what we basically had last year. So for the season, so like so I mean, I know, and I think just to be fair to us on our end, 6 to 8
Mhm.
in these first couple shows, that's a good number, and it's
Mhm.
it's and it's comparable to what the men shows are doing, and they're being paid quadruple. If you offered the women the same money, probably more would have showed up.
Oh yeah.
you know, and I think they take advantage of some of that. Honestly, it's like because it's so there and it's so readily available that hey, whereas that's not the case for us. So I mean, saying hey, there should be more of us. Well, but there was though, in
Mhm.
comparison to what it had been, and comparing it to thus far to what the men shows have been. There's not 12 or 13 in open. So
Right. No, it wasn't.
look at the last couple shows. It wasn't. So
At the end of the day, when you talk about prize money versus the sanction fee, if we get up around 10K,
right.
and then if the winner of the Olympia is at 50 to get as high as 25, then you might see something and just keep growing it. You need like I think it was the Dodd-Frank rule, whatever women's salaries and everybody, that's been the whole
Mhm,
buzz. WNBA, and they're not getting, it is what it is. But we
mhm.
definitely do more, and I'm definitely gonna do my part.
And I mean, and the money's available, because I mean, look at Caitlin
Yeah.
Clark. She's got a couple deals coming up in the
Yeah.
million. So like the money's there when the talent's there, and when you start to present itself, and you see that there's, and you can grow the crowd. So like same
Right.
thing with the WNBA right now. It's huge now. Women's basketball,
Mhm.
like there are men that are talking more about women's basketball than talking about the men's at this point. So like yes, so now there's going to be these
It
new
is.
recruits coming in, and I'm from Chicago. It's like our Chicago Sky. We got some top recruits this year, but we got
Y'all
a
do.
great draft. We had a
Yeah.
great draft. So like, so I feel like that it's going to just grow, and I mean, and they're going to bring and the crowds are coming, which is going to bring the money, and that's so it's
Yeah.
it's it's just time, and it takes time, and it takes people sticking with it through the hard times. Because I mean,
Mhm.
the NBA is why the WNBA was able to just fight through all those years of not making money. They're going to see a
Right.
turnaround now, and they're going to finally profit on it. And I think it's that time. So, like same thing with Jake. I mean, he brought women's bodybuilding back for a reason. It's taken a few years.
Mhm.
They've stuck with it. Bringing back the show back in Romania. I mean, they've stuck with it. Elena stuck with it, and I think now it's going to finally start to pay off. So, yeah.
And maybe the avenue is a NIL deal for you guys. Name, image, and likeness.
Mhm.
Down the road we keep growing. If it goes the way I think and I hope and pray, I'll be getting calls say, "Hey, Glenn, you remember when I was on that cover back in September 2022? I know you made X amount of money. It'll be a great problem to have, you know. And once the Amazon get behind it,
Yeah.
it's on. So
Yeah.
just got to keep pushing. Rashanna,
Yep.
I'm gonna let you go to bed. Appreciate you for joining me. Thanks so
Thank
much.
you so
We'll
much.
talk again soon for
Yes,
sure.
we'll be playing. I'll be tagging you all weekend. We'll be in Seattle for the Emerald Cup. So yeah, I'm pretty sure me and Michelle and we got a whole group coming out there. So
Yeah, give her my best and enjoy out there at the Emerald Cup. And I'll be watching.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, take care.
All right, bye.
Coming up tomorrow night, Jess Falborn will be joining the Amazon's podcast at 7:30 p.m. She is doing the New York Pro, by the way. I believe it's her pro debut, so we'll talk all about that. She's so charismatic. You've seen her on NPC News Online. So tune in at 7:30 tomorrow Eastern. And then at 8:30, Brittany Parrish will join us. This is a reschedule, or she couldn't make it last week. So I'm very excited that she'll be coming on. She just got her pro card last year, and we're going to find out what she's been doing as she gets ready to do her show in 2025. Once again, I want to appreciate Reshanna Boswell for coming on, wishing her all the best. Again, thanking Maximus Posing Suits for sponsoring the Amazon's podcast. And Michelle Bogdan, all the best to her as she's competed twice and is coming to be able to run a business and then sponsor an athlete at the same time is tough. So really appreciate her and all her support to Amazon's Fitness Magazine, because she also is an ad sponsor as well, not just of the podcast. I'm Glenn Young, owner of Amazon's Fitness Magazine, Celebrate the Female Physique. Make sure you guys subscribe to the website, amazonsfitmag.com. You want to order copies of the magazine, click on issues and follow the link, and you can order your copy of the latest issues of Amazon's Fitness Magazine. Celebrate the female physique, guys. When you do more, I can do more. We talked about sponsorship of athletes in the next phase of Amazon's Fitness Magazine. When it comes as a transition and keep doing what I'm trying to do is sponsor female promoters. So stay tuned, and we'll see you tomorrow night on Amazon's podcast.
Life's best moments are best captured by photography and video. You may ask, why photography and video? Because if a photo is worth 1,000 words, video is worth 1,000,000. And GPS photography and video will leave you speechless. GPS specializes in weddings, swords, fitness, and so much more. Book your next shoot today at 910-257-0526 or gpsphotoandvideo.com.